to talk about pretending. And I want to talk about that from the perspective of being a parent and from the perspective of being a child. From the perspective of being a parent, we have to remember that we're teaching our children even when we're not directly teaching our children. Our children watch and mimic us in everything we do, and even though they may not be present, they're watching. You know what I mean? If you have kids, you know this. Even if you don't, most people who don't have kids watch kids even closer, and they know this as well. So if we practice this fake lifestyle in our own lifestyle, what are we teaching to our kids? I know social media has us trying to be something we're not. I know that age may be a struggle for some, or whatever it may be that you're trying to distract yourself from being or distract everyone else from seeing inside of you. Remember, your kids are seeing this. And we're starting to see that in kids that are very young. I mean, we're talking like 10 years old. They're already looking at filters, trying to look like filters within their phone. So I just think this is completely unacceptable. You know, like to have a generation of children to be self-conscious about their appearance and this false idea of what it means to be beautiful on the outside as opposed from the inside is something that we could be teaching them. You know, we give our kids phones and we let them just run wild with these apps and you know, we don't think of the consequences, but the consequences are showing themselves, and they have been for 10, 15, 20 years with this stuff. And to say that, you know, before social media, it was magazines. Girls were struggling, trying to look like a photoshopped image in a magazine, but we weren't having these conversations. We were, but not as much as we should have been. I think that, you know, we're so distracted ourselves these days with social media and some false idea of making our life, pretending that our life is better than, you know, or trying to impress someone. I don't really want to, you know, suggest too many things because many people are doing things for many different reasons. I'm just trying to bring an awareness to a situation that affects the children and ourselves. And I mean, I think if we can practice a certain awareness and teach that to the kids, they in turn in themselves will see that and set themselves free. I mean, to think that kids are growing up self-conscious with body image issues at 10. I mean, at 10. That's insane. Like, it's just unacceptable. Like, I mean, really, it's just unacceptable to think that. And I think it's our job as parents, you know, that we created these little entities of ourselves. We, you know, you more often than not, you try to give your children everything you didn't have in your childhood, and to be honest, that usually comes from a materialistic standpoint. But if we look inside of ourselves and we understand that everything happens from within, I mean, let's have a different conversation. Let's try to give our children everything we didn't have from an emotional standpoint. I mean, if you give your children that, you are doing the greatest job as a parent that you could do, because talking about feelings and emotions and leading by example and showing them that expression, that conversation between families that we should be having, and not presenting a materialistic distraction to them, or, you know, like giving them a phone or letting them, you know, figure themselves out that way. You deserve a pat on the back if you're doing that. You know, if you're really having these conversations and trying to give your kids the emotional the lack of emotional support that you didn't receive, or emotional support that you did receive through your childhood, that's what this is about. We're here to be guides, and we're here to listen and grow together. It's not about buying things, you know, it's not about being distracted. Distracted from what? Like, I mean, that's the question we should be having, is what's with the distractions? It just is really unnerving to see that the children are distracting themselves at like 8 and 10 years old. So we as parents need to step up, because the most important job in the world, I don't care who tells you what, is not making money. It's parenting. And that, because the children have they have the ability to change the world for the rest of us and for the future kids to come. So let's let that be important again in life, because this beautiful planet, as you can see, and you all know we're all a part of, deserves it, as well as our children.